Welcome back to the channel. We're gonna go and film our third episode with building a move bumper for this 07 Suburban. A customer contacted us. He was wanting a winch bumper for this thing, so we contacted our friends over at Move Bumpers, and we're going to build him a huge winch bumper. So this bumper is going to be complete with dual fog lights on each side. We're going to cap it off with an Apex winch from Harbor Freight. Very good winch for the money, fully waterproof, synthetic rope, and get you out of any kind of situation that you can really get this thing in. So we're going to go ahead and get this bumper cover removed and see what we're working with. So we've got all of our parts laid out now. We're ready to start the mock-up of fitting the bumper brackets to the back of the bumper. We always start with the middle. We display all the parts so we can show everybody what it takes to do this installation. He's got the Rough Country Black Series fog lights, 2 per side. Those are the wings for the bumper. Then you've got your back pieces that cap off the side. Of course, all your bracketry that's going to be mounting your lights, mounting the bumper to the frame. This is not a weld-on installation. This bumper can be bolted on and taken off. It's got a full brush guard that's going to be integrated with it. That'll be one of the last things we do, along with putting his Badlands Apex 12,000 pound winch in. So it comes with all the accessories you need. It should make for a really easy installation. So what you see before you is the factory bumper off of this 2007 Chevrolet Suburban. So this is all one piece, but what we have to do is actually separate the grill from the bumper cover itself. So we're going to cut right around through here as clean as we can and cut this piece back off, because this is going to actually go back in the vehicle, and of course this doing away with it. So we're going to get to cutting and we'll see how it fits back in. So we've got our mounting brackets tacked together and bolted in. These are going to bolt with the factory tow hooks and the D-rings here. So you got the one bolt threads in, one bolt goes straight through to put your bracket in. We've got them tacked up here. Those will be fully welded. The only thing you'll have to do is you'll have to take this factory bolt that goes straight down through the center. We're going to have to add a washer and nut to the bottom of it. So I've got 2 lines drawn on the inside of this bumper. These measure 1 7/8 from each end. We pull the measurement straight across the outside. Right at 3 feet across. Then we measured the outside to outside of the bumper. Sorry for the terrible camera quality, because I'm trying to hold this with one hand. We had 39 3/4, which equals 1 7/8 on each side.
You definitely want to go ahead and fully weld this whenever you're trying to get these fit up. That way you can make sure that all your gaps stay the same. You want to make sure that everything's nice and straight. These corners you want to go ahead and weld. That way the heat doesn't try to warp anything. So I welded up this little bit of a gap that we had right here just to fit everything up. I'm actually going to go above and beyond and make a closeout panel for this right here because I'm not really happy with that, how that goes. Same thing on this side. So I got that.
Alright, I'm going to recap on what we've done so far. So, we have fit our brackets. It's your first step of building this bumper for this Suburban. So we fit our brackets up, bolted them together, went ahead and welded them up. Got them on both sides. Then we went to our main support piece of the bumper, put it on. Then we fit our wings, which is the outsides of the bumper. It's going to go underneath your headlights. And then your end caps right here and right here that finish out the edge of the bumper. So what we're going to do is going to go ahead and finish weld every bit of this. We weld everything inside and out so it's nice and super strong. Also, we want to really make sure we reinforce these with anything that we can. We're going to weld them on the, both sides, inside and out. Also, we went ahead and fit the push bar and everything on the outside of this bumper. Once we get this welded up, we're going to flip it over. That way everybody can see, how we laid that out. We changed up just a little bit of the geometry of that, just to make it a little bit more aesthetically pleasing for what we're wanting to do with this customer. So, also, while we've got it like this is a good time to go ahead and put our winch plate in. It already comes pre-bent. And the good thing about these bumpers, they actually made some access holes here and here. That way, whenever your winch plate is in here, it makes it real handy to get in, to get the bolt in the bottom of your winch. So we can go ahead and get that welded up in there also. It's a good rule of thumb once you get it in there and get it tacked where you want it. Go ahead and throw the winch in there to make sure it's going to fit. Also, we've got our LED light brackets. So these are going to go in here. Well, this is for the other side obviously, but basically they're going to go, you can put them like this just for, put them in here. It's got another support that's going to go right there. Obviously they're going to be turned around this way because this is for this side. So they're going to look like this. That way your lights are hanging off of it. Which doesn't really matter. You can put them however close or far away you want them. These are made to where you can actually cut that off and make it closer. Depends on what kind of light you got, but we'll do another segment just on the light installation for that when we put these in. So we're going to go ahead and get some welding done.
give you all a little shot of our welds here. So you can see that everything is welded inside and out. Here's a shot of the winch plate. Welds on the inside of each mounting bracket. Inside of that wing. Now I'm going to show you how we get these fog light brackets in here. So usually these are hanging from the top. So your bracket, this is what your bolt goes through for your fog light, but in this case we wanted the fog lights to be sitting on these brackets, and then your stiffener goes on the top. So fog light's going to sit right through there obviously, but we wanted it to where we'd have maximum adjustment. That way if he were to run these on the street, he can point them down at the road. It's not illegal. He's not going to be blinding people at the same time. So they're tacked on there right where they need to go. So now we're going to go to the other side. We're going to try to get those fit up. Once those are fit, we'll go ahead and get them finished welded in, and then we'll flip the bumper over. So now that we have the bumper coated, we're going to go through the process of how we did this. We weren't able to film this just because it was dark, wouldn't be able to see, and we were running a little bit behind on time. So the prep going into this bumper, after everything was finished welded, you get everything cleaned up like you want it. The first step is go ahead and remove all the oil off of this metal, because this metal comes, it's got a light coating of oil just to keep it from rusting with shipping. Usually you don't have to worry about it. They ship everything really quick. They send everything all together. It's really nice. Shout out to Move Bumpers. They've really treated us good. We really like this product. So once you get all the contaminants off of it, you're gonna sand this down with a 40 grit DA paper, or you can sand it 40 grit by hand if you want. The DA just makes it a lot better, a lot smoother. So after you do that, blow it off, wipe it down again, and then we spray the entire thing with adhesion promoter by Raptor. You can get this at, we get our stuff from O'Reilly's. That's the closest place for us, but there's all kinds of paint stores. You can buy it online. You can usually find it at a better deal. But for this application, we just bought this can at O'Reilly's. So this is the Raptor adhesion promoter. This is going to actually get everything to stick a lot better to bare metal without using their primer, or it's actually almost an etching agent inside that adhesion promoter. So your Raptor liner is going to come in a bottle like this. It's 24 fluid ounces. The kit that we bought actually comes with 4 of these bottles, a roller kit if you're wanting to roll it, or you can spray this. We spray this in this application. It just makes it a little bit better job, and when you get used to spraying it, you will never roll anything else again. So, but this is just black. They do make this in a tintable in the Raptor liner. We haven't done that yet, but we probably will. It just depends on if customer calls for it. This is the hardener that goes in it. They give you 32 ounces of hardener. It only takes 8 ounces per bottle. So this is probably one of the simplest bed liners that you can actually spray. So you'll take 8 ounces of this hardener, you'll put it in the bottle, you'll shake it up to where it's nice and mixed, and then you're going to put it on your application gun, which looks like this. I always recommend that you put an adjustable pressure regulator. I spray everything on 60 psi. When you're actually spraying it, it drops down to about 40. It just makes a little bit smoother texture.
The less pressure you have, the more texture. But really good gun. This is a gun specifically for bed liner, and it works really well. Bottles just screw right up in it. So it's a little heavy when you have a full bottle on it, but you know, that's what it's going to look like. So you know, you're spraying. It's not very bulky. It actually does really well. This bumper took 48 ounces of bed liner, so 2 bottles. That way you get, you know, 2 really good coats on this. It's going to last. It's going to be durable. It's very scratch resistant. So it turned out really nice. I'm really happy with the end product. So now that everything is coated, everything's good and dry, we let it dry overnight. This is actually dry to the touch in an hour, surprisingly. Other bed liners, they're also a lot thicker. You have to keep that in mind. The thicker that your material is, the longer it's going to take to actually cure. So this, it's dry to the touch in an hour.
So here's what your fog lights look after they're installed on those brackets. And of course, you want these angled in to be purposeful for fog lights. Of course, you don't want to blind everybody. But that's what they look like. So now we're gonna get the vehicle back in here, get the bumper put on it, get the winch installed, and then hopefully have the final.
So we made these brackets right here. This is just to keep the grill out at the bottom because there's nothing to attach it now that it's cut loose from the bumper cover. So we just made these little brackets here, and we can use some fasteners to go into the bottom of the grill on both sides. We just sprayed them flat black. That way the grill can't push in the bottom. That way your gap is still the same. So we just wanted to touch on that's something you're going to have to do because your grill, you know, bolts in the factory location up here, but there's nothing to keep it from flapping at the bottom, so we remedied that. So a little word to the wise, something we encountered that we didn't encounter before because the light brackets weren't in here. So this bracket here is hitting the core support right here, so we're going to have to do a little modification to that and get that out of our way. Once that's out of our way, we should be good to go.
This is what your winch is going to look like once you get it set up in this bumper. Of course, make sure you use big enough washers to hold it in place. This is a relatively large winch. That is the Badland Apex, so it's pretty big. I'll show you the issue we've got up front. Okay, so this is the problem we've got. This is your disengage lever. Obviously, you can't be engaged because of the way this bumper is made. So you can use this winch properly, we are going to notch this section of the bumper out. So we'll go ahead and notch that out and then see what it looks like.
Alright, so now with this bigger winch inside this bumper, the casing on these are a lot bigger than the regular Badlands 12,000 pound winch. So we're relocating the solenoid box and everything that's usually attached to the top of the winch into the battery compartment. And then with this winch, we had to modify this bumper opening so you can lock the winch in position from free spool to gear drive. So now that we've got this little modification done to this bumper, he shouldn't have any problem switching back and forth with ease.
As most people know, Chevrolet puts 2 areas for the battery. So we are going to use the spare battery location to set the solenoid down in. And it will go kind of like that. Roughly looking, sits right down in there. This customer is actually going to step up to a dual battery upgrade here soon. So when he does, we're going to move this up and position it on top of the battery. But for now, this is where we're going to place it. Here's the winch wired up. This is the piece you have to change onto it when you pull the solenoid off the top. Run your wiring. We're going to tuck it in this channel and then run it up to where we're working on the solenoid plate right now.
All right, so now we got the breaker box and everything for the top of the winch. We got it relocated to the secondary battery tray of the Suburban. There's the 3 lines that are going to the winch. We made some longer cables just so we can make it that much cleaner of a job. We've got our battery cutoff switch right there mounted to the breaker box. Of course, you got your power feed that's going to go right along firewall straight to the battery. Got it all nice and clean. And then there's all the finished product. Nice and clean, wires run. So we're going to do a test and see if it works.
Come on.
Well, here's finished product. So customer's really happy with it. He's actually standing behind the camera in his camera shot. But got it all done. Everything works good. We tried everything, fog lights and everything, really bright, super bright. All that stuff's good.